Welcome, everybody, to the Texas Grassroots Alliance live stream. Great to be here with all of you. Alexander Montalvo out of Fort Worth, Texas. And right now we've got Danita Jones with us out of Dallas and Cheyenne Desarkar out of Austin. Great to see both of y'all.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, we're excited because we're going to talk about the TX2030 Summit. This is the second annual summit that the Texas Grassroots Alliance has been able to develop and have for folks to come together to talk about organizing and the long-term plans for Texas. And definitely know both of y'all are going to be there. Share with everyone why you're excited about this your summit and what are some of the things you're looking forward to.
Well, I'm looking forward to just the 2030 plans. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm excited about to see organizational's 2030 plans and how we can move our state um, with new concepts, new plans, new outreach, new techniques to just inform, everyday Texans because currently the way things are sitting in Texas, we're going to have to be the ones to make those changes. We're going to have to be the ones organizing for those changes. And what better way to be in a space with like minded individuals that are ready to do the work?
Yeah, for me, definitely excited to meet folks who I haven't seen in person yet. May have seen online or heard about. A great opportunity to meet other Texas grassroots organizers. Um, After the results of the election, I think it's pretty clear we need to invest. I mean, we've already always known this, but we need to invest heavily in grassroots and community organizers. And for better or worse, I guess I'm hoping that the election has shined a better or a stronger light on the need for that. And so I hope the organizers who are attending are excited for that. Obviously, with what we're providing, hopefully that'll help that effort. But yeah, would be great to see that gain traction.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing is that there's all of these complaints and cries and concerns about what's happening, which appointments are going on, and these are from the same people who helped hoard billions of dollars over the last decade, um, and this is what it's gotten us to. And from the grassroots perspective, we have been communicating and vocalizing our concerns about statewide campaigns in Texas, about local campaigns, about congressional campaigns at all levels of the ballot, and then of course at the top of the ticket, national campaigns. And and this establishment has refused to listen to the grassroots in any real way. Um, the money that they spend, I think the New Republic article shared that $57.7 million was spent on advertising and marketing from the Already campaign out of what we think is around 90 million raised. That is a crazy amount of crazy sum of money to spend on marketing and advertising in a state as diverse as ours that needs local folks talking to local voters.
Yeah,
Um, and that fundamental just disconnect and it just shows how there's a lot of people who are very incompetent at doing this work and understanding what it's going to take and have gotten rich off of it. And I think that's frustrating as hell. And I know there's a mass exodus happening on Twitter right now, and I very well may be making that exodus at some point myself, but I had to say for myself on Twitter that as the loudest Democratic establishment elected official voice tweets out of despair over what is happening, all I can think about is how all of them fucked us over. Y'all have burned through billions and refused to fund the most important work, the grassroots. Fuck y'all. That's kind of my attitude
yeah.
this entire thing.
I was at the DNC. And I had a talk with one of our elected officials here in Austin. Um, I told her straight up, Colin Allred's going to lose. Like, I, I have no fault with the people, like the individuals, the volunteers on the campaign trying to do their best. There's no fault there. But the overall strategy that campaign was employing was clearly flawed. Like you could see from the get-go, he barely attended anything. He barely engaged with people. And you compare that to Beto, who did everything he could to meet people where they are, meet people where they are. And yeah, Beto did lose, but he at least produced a game plan that no one has tried to replicate since then, which is very disappointing. When you're trying to build something, if you're lucky enough to get something that at least looks like it might work, you don't just abandon that. You invest in it more and you tweak it and you iterate it. You don't go back to the previous playbook that didn't work. So yeah, I told people that he was going to lose, and I was more right than I wanted to be.
I don't think anyone on here disagree with what you're saying, Cheyenne, because we all said it. We all said that he wasn't going to win. We also said that VP Harris wasn't going to win. It's just the inevitable of how the Democratic Party moves. We noticed when Beto was running, how the National Party didn't even play a role in helping him. So there's that infighting that's happening within the Democratic Party that they refuse to address, and it's taking its toll not only just in Texas but across many other states. Uh, I don't know what it's going to take for the Democratic Party to quote unquote get their shit together, but um, it's gonna take more than Hinojosa stepping down. That's for sure.
And the systems they asked us to trust are in the process of turning over the nuclear codes to Putin. The systems we were asked to trust are willingly surrendering the country to a foreign adversary. That's what we were asked to trust and told that if we diverged from. And every time you offered a different conception, oh, what about incremental change? Oh, you're a radical. Oh, you're a bro. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. And yet the systems that we were at, that we've torched our lives on, are appointing Tulsi Gabbard to hand over the nuclear code to Putin. That's the end product of what we were asked to support. They can't even keep their core. The systems that we're asked to trust can't keep their core constituencies safe and still won't look at other ways of doing things.
Yeah. And I think this is why the TX2030 Summit is so critical. And I think, our initial plans, we thought that maybe having it early in the year would have been beneficial for a number of different reasons as we kind of gear up for this election. And I think there would have been benefit, but in organizing, different things happen, different impacts are made, and so we ended up moving it to post-election to November. I think this is a good opportunity for us to bring everyone together and to really talk about what is the future in Texas specifically, and why we need to continue to foster this long-term thinking. And that's why the Texas 2030 Summit being in Fort Worth this weekend from the 15th to the 17th is something that we think people should be really excited about and should be motivated about attending. And we want to see folks there. This is where you're going to hear ideas that have been worked on for the last several years. The Texas Grassroots Alliance itself formed in 2021. You will hear about the progress that's been made through the work of building an alliance together. And we've got a lot of things to talk about and a lot of things to go over. Like Danita said, the 2030 plans that orgs have developed already. We want to see more orgs thinking long term and developing those things. And so, yeah, this is a space that we are developing and curating so that we have somewhere to go that is going to help build the solutions we know that are needed. And so, yeah, looking forward to this weekend and these opportunities. When y'all think about the opportunities that come about from having a space like this with the Texas Grassroots Alliance and having a summit space, Shine, I'd love to get your thoughts about how complementing a digital space with that is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of times in organizing, we have these events like the TX2030 Summit where people come together and those summits, those events definitely provide a lot of great content, opportunity to meet other folks and create those bonds. What I've always wanted as someone who's been in the organizing space is a way to keep those bonds connected and flourishing post those events. And so what we're going to be doing there through Unified is when you check in, you'll create your Unified account and join the digital chat for the events on the Unified platform. But that community that gets created digitally will exist after the event as well. So it'll be a way for those connections to live on and turn into new things over time, new organizing activities, new groups, all that kind of stuff. And so I think we often talk about how a lot of times things kind of have to start over cycle to cycle, right? Or session to session. And this is a way to start creating those bridges between cycles, between events, things like that. So I'm hoping we can provide that with Unified. I hope folks use it during or before, during, and after the summit to, again, build on top of what we do in Fort Worth.
Yeah, Neil, Danita, y'all have both been on the Unified app. What are some of the things that you've seen that have provided opportunities to help move our work forward as grassroots organizers? And that's specifically our perspective on this app is how does it help the grassroots organizer?
It connects you with others that you probably wouldn't have been connected to in like general social media, like Facebook, because you know the people that are on Unified, you know there are organizers and advocates in some form of the word. But whether with your social media, you probably have to dig for those people. You'll probably have to find them or have a completely public page and hope that the algorithm brings you two together. Whereas in Unified, you know that people that are in that space, they are organizers, and it's easy to connect. Whether they're in state, in the same city with you, or across the country, you'll know that those people in Unified are organizers.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Texas. I didn't realize we were live on air until about 5 minutes ago. Thank you. I stand by everything I've said. I've been using the app, and I'm enthused to continue to keep using it. It's never been more important. It's never been more important to have our own channels of communication. It's never been more important to have our own channels of communication. We can go over to Blue Sky. I've downloaded the app and I'm gonna go on it, but there's nothing that makes that immune to CAPTCHA. Someone will come and buy that. And so when you go into these apps, you're investing your time. I mean, think on Twitter or any of these social network apps, this is a significant investment of time to build something. And Elon Musk comes and you find out you're in a Nazi sewer, and that time is shot. And so I'm really enthused about the vision and the prospect of a place where we can interact with each other and build power together.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited that y'all have adopted it. And Neil, you're always posting your thoughts there each day, which has been great. Gives the other organizers that are on there, sometimes they're lurkers, sometimes they engage, but they're seeing that content. And it's an initial foray into raising awareness of what's going on in Houston specifically, but also helps organizers understand that they're not the only folks working on stuff in their communities. And I think has unseen value. So yeah, we're going to keep. We obviously, like Neil said, we have a pretty big vision for what Unified is going to be. We're really at the ground level. Grassroots organizers, all about getting on the ground level. So we have some pretty big plans. We're going to see a lot of interesting stuff coming out next year that's going to help that infrastructure, help you host events, help you raise money. All sorts of exciting stuff is coming. But yeah, this summit's gonna be a great milestone to kick things off here in Texas.
Yeah, so we're excited for everyone to join us. In addition to Unified being the communication channel that we're going to be utilizing for the for the summit. We also want to make sure that folks are aware of just the conversations we're going to be having. We're going to do a debrief on the 2024 election cycle. And we're not going to really waste time on the national, statewide level conversations, but we really want to talk about it locally. What happened locally? What were some of the wins? What were some of the losses? What were some of the opportunities you think could have been had? So we really want to get insight from local organizers around that. We're going to once again highlight organizations that have their strategic plan built out to 2030 and be able to model that long-term thinking so that more organizers are thinking about this stuff long-term. We're going to do some power mapping by region because we're going to be getting ready for road trips in 2025 and 2026 through the 6 regions that the Texas Grassroots Alliance has kind of formulated Texas around so that we can continue to build that local infrastructure. We'll also have a 2025 Texas legislative preview and so much more. You know, we're going to have folks connecting with each other. We're going to have folks really building those relationships, building that trust that is so needed. And for me, anytime there's organizers in a room together, whether it's 2, 3, or 20 or 200 organizers, when you get grassroots organizers in a room together, sharing information and talking to each other, magic always happens. There's always knowledge shared. There's always collaborations built. There's always insights provided. And so that's what's really, really excited. So on Friday, we're going to kick it off with some networking. We're going to have some food for everyone. You can come to the Blank Co-work Studios where local organization Tearing for Change is officing out of, and we'll be there from 5 to 9, maybe a little later. We'll see. We'll see how everyone's energy is doing at the end of Friday. But then for Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be at Accelerate Fort Worth Foundation's offices, where Afrocentric University office is out of, and we'll have pretty much the whole building to be able to do the work of the summit within that space. And so couple of exciting conversations. I'd love to get y'all's thoughts on some of the panel discussions and some of the things that are happening. But one person we're going to have is keynote speaker for us is going to be Julie Oliver. And so Julie Oliver is the founder of Ground Game. I'll bring up a graphic here in a minute to highlight Julie, but she's going to be our keynote speaker around lunchtime on Saturday. And that's going to go right into a panel where we're going to talk about stopping the narratives and myths of Texas and going on the offensive in 2025. So yeah, when we look at this agenda, what are some of the things that y'all are excited about being able to see and things that are going to be discussed during the summit?
Well, I think the election recap focused on locals essential. The focus, the local focus really is lacking so often, and I think the just the ability to meet with organizers from across the state is really invaluable. I think we're forming, and I think the opportunity, as bleak as it is, to meet after the election and as we grasp day by day the gravity of the moment, really has a lot of value. So I think that any of the conversations could take a different perspective than maybe they would have 2 or 3 weeks ago. A darker one, maybe, but I'm glad we have the opportunity to do it.
I'd be interested to see how kind of 2 opposite things. One is how local organizers are strategizing for both the legislative session as well as like upcoming elections, but also, so that's like a strong like electoral political focus. But on the opposite end, how are they just thinking about how to support their local communities and become like a trusted resource for constituents or their neighbors, basically, so that they can create sort of like a vector for trust for mobilization in the future. I'm just curious if anyone's thinking about that, and if they are, would love to hear what they're trying to do for that.
Yeah, I think what I'm most looking forward to is the panel discussion on changing the Texas narrative. I think for too long, I'm not a Texas native. I've been here 7 years, and the narrative has always been the same. Texas is not a battleground state. Yet every law that has challenged and changed from DC down federal, it started here. The dismantling of DEI, the creation of the threat of CRT, that started in South Lake. That started in South Lake. The dismantling of Roe v. Wade, that started here. Then it went to Louisiana. Then it went to Mississippi. So I want to deconstruct that narrative. And Texas is a battleground state. It is a battleground state, and we have to start looking at it as a battleground state before any more harm comes out of this state that affects the rest of the nation. But I'm looking forward to changing that narrative and being with individuals that can look at it for what it is and call BS on it.
Yeah, a battleground state, we need to stop conceding in advance. When I came into the conversation, and Alex was talking about, our electeds, who concede in advance by not building networks of party. We're told, we're looking to do things beyond party structures, find autonomous structures. But one thing certain important to my activism is to ask the conventional networks to do what they say they're to do. We're told repeatedly to invest in these conventional networks, but then they're in gerrymandered turnout districts over and over. And when you protest, you're over policed in your own community. So you're in a box, you're in a trap. And so one goal of organizing is to ask the conventional networks to just keep their bottom line promise of electorally trying. That doesn't inhibit us from our own visions, but boy, look where you got us.
Yep, and all of these conversations are going to be exciting to have, and there's so much insight that grassroots organizers are ready to continue to amplify and to be able to move things forward. And that also comes to our keynote speaker, Danita, with Julie Oliver joining us at the summit. Talk to us about why Julie Oliver feels like just the perfect person to have right now in this summit, in this conversation.
Julie Oliver is the perfect person to have in this as a keynote speaker in this year's summit, simply because, one, we're talking about someone who founded an organization that was doing remarkable change, using grassroots organizers to do the work, using community capacity building, and giving communities power to say, oh, we can change certain things in our city that will benefit us by doing the groundwork ourselves, the legwork ourselves. But also, it goes to show you that even in your greatness of doing things for your community, that there will be those who will usurp your authority behind closed doors, conspire to take you out because you don't meet up to the status quo of what they're trying to do, which is not beneficial for the community at large. And they'll sell them souls for a seat that they never will receive because said person didn't win the election. But, here we are. So it goes to show you that no matter how straight you play the game, there will always be someone that is willing to co-opt your work. There will always be someone that is willing to destroy what you've built in your character with regards to the almighty dollar. And that's what we've seen over and over happening in Texas, specifically with elected officials. Money moves people. People don't move money. And that's from what I see from my elected officials that represent me. It's self-preservation out here. No one's looking for the community. No one's looking out for us. They're looking out for themselves. And that was evident in our election results locally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And the money, my state senator, Molly Cook, spent $1 million. That, and Molly Cook is held out as the great, young progressive hope. She may prove to be that. But campaigns are extractive industries. And Molly took $1 million out of the political ecosystem, used thousands of volunteer hours. I'm glad she won, but she's left no structure behind. Nothing is built. None of that structure helped Harris County turnout. Now, she in fact did work. She made a promise that she would work to draw a turnout, and she in fact kept that promise. But you know, that's the least she could do, having extracted $1 million from the ecosystem. And I think one of the things we want to do is compliment our electeds when they do right. Molly did keep the promise to work to generate turnout, but also be cognizant of the resources extracted, and make sure that our electeds understand, you know, you didn't do us a favor. You took a lot of volunteer hours that maybe could have been used for something else, and we act so conventionally. We don't even have, I'll just speak for myself, you don't even have inherently the vision to even know where those hours could have been used, or if you're feeling that a lot of your values have been defeated, as I feel at the moment, it's even hard to envision that those hours wouldn't be used constructively. So so that's one thing, you know, and I'll be happy to be around not like-minded people, just to be in a safe area of like-minded folks, but just to be, you know, have the to be able to have ideas with and talk with and gain insight together with.
Take myself off mute. As we get ready for the summit that starts tomorrow, 5 o'clock here in Fort Worth, Texas, I want to go around this this stream here to each of you to give your pitch to why you want to see people show up to this summit, and to help us encourage folks in this time of frustration, or in some very real ways despair, why this is a place for you to be this weekend, and we want to have you. So Cheyenne, we're going to start off with you if that works, and give you the mic there.
Yeah, sure. I guess kind of echoing my previous comments, I think when things are looking dark or bleak, one early step you can do is just to be with others that share your values. And just knowing that those people exist and have the same concerns, same thoughts as you is a big step towards picking yourself up again and taking the steps forward that you need to. So I see this summit as a large kind of structured event to help us do that as organizers. And like you were saying, Alex, I think a lot of good conversation will come with that. People will be re-energized to get back into the work after disappointing results. And that's the kind of energy that we always need to refill and feed up again.
All right, Danita, we got you next. What's your pitch?
My pitch is, are you tired of the same old, same old? Are you tired of the red and the blue and you just want change for you? Then the Texas Grassroots Summit 2030 is where you need to be. Get ideas, hear what's next for some organizations. And even if you're not part of an organization, it'll be the place for you to get plugged into organizations that are doing work in your area. And let's organize for some change in Texas.
You know, I'm looking forward to it. I think there's value in being together. You know, this stuff is for real. You think of a justice system with Matt Gaetz at the top and Ken Paxton as your AG. There is value. That's some lawless shit. And there is value in knowing who isn't a cop. There's value in knowing who can you trust. There's value in being able to have a private conversation where you can express your hopes or your fears. And there's value, you know, there's no algorithm. We'll all be in the room together. So, you know, we won't be inhibited. So, a consistent theme of the Houston Democracy Project has been, this stuff's for real. These consequences are real. You don't ask for recess appointments to impose these people, or you don't ask for a panel to fire generals. And I'm very local focused, but I mean, you see the framework that's being established. So I think being able to meet and talk to one another, see who we can trust has a ton of value.
Absolutely. And my pitch to everyone is a lot of what has been said already. We need to build community. We need to be in community together. And the TX2030 Summit is a great opportunity to do just that. No matter how dark or how bad this gets, we need to have a path forward. We need to be able to see, how do we change what is going on and what is it going to take to do that. There is no giving up. There is no stopping. There is no checking out. So many people's lives and so many people's future depends on the work that we do together. And so let's come together in Fort Worth, Texas this weekend. Let's have those conversations. Let's build those relationships. Let's continue to strengthen our collaborations, and let's keep the work moving forward. And together we can fight against what is happening and realize the future that we are all envisioning. That is that better and brighter future in Texas. So let's take this step and let's do it together. So we look forward to seeing you guys in Fort Worth, Texas this weekend. We look forward to seeing you at the Texas 2030 Summit. If you're joining virtually or in person, there is a virtual option. Make sure you RSVP today so that we can get you all the important information so that you are ready to go this weekend. And I want to thank everybody who's able to join the live stream today. Cheyenne, Neil, and Danita. Looking forward to seeing all of y'all in person as Houston, Dallas, Austin, and Fort Worth is going to be coming together, and so many other folks throughout the state. So let's have a great weekend, and we'll keep you guys up to date on what's going on. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.